And here we are again. Hi guys, nice to have you back. Welcome to the 9th episode of the Liebherr R960 SME build. Today it's all about the electronics in the model. This video is again available in English and German. To make it as convenient as possible for you, this time there are two separate videos for each language. For the German Video, just click up here. Dieses Video ist auch auf Deutsch verfügbar. Klick einfach hier oben auf den Link. Let me know in the comments what you think of the idea of two separate videos. But now let's get started. In the previous episodes we have assembled the excavator to the extent that it stands here on the table. The undercarriage, upper carriage and boom are fully assembled by now. And also the hydraulic system is complete. Today it's time to install all the electrical components. If you are new to this series and haven't seen the earlier episodes yet, take a look at the video description, where I have linked the whole playlist for you. As always, let's first take a quick look at which components are used in this model. First, there is the power distribution board with the battery connection cable and the main switch. Then the three motor controllers for both track drives and the swivel drive. BEC in this case with 4 amps. The sound module, which I also use to control the lighting at the same time, together with the loudspeaker and the loudspeaker housing. Then a small servo distributor boards. We'll see what this is all about later on. 6 servos for the hydraulic valves with the corresponding servo holder and a few aluminium plates on which everything is neatly mounted. Last but not least, of course, the motor controller for the hydraulic pump. Let's start with the small motor controllers. This special controller has a small adjusting screw that can be used to set how quickly it accelerates and decelerates. I turn the setting to the minimum so that I can program it later on using the remote control. I mount the 3 motor controllers and the controller for the hydraulic pump on the bottom of the plate. I stick the 3 small controllers directly in place with some adhesive tape. With the controller for the pump, I make sure that the heatsink, that is the flat side of the controller, rests directly on the aluminium sheet and can transfer the heat well into the sheet. This prevents overheating. The small controllers in this model are not critical in terms of heat, so you don't have to pay attention to the heat sinks here. I use some shrink tubing to tie the cables of the 3 motor controllers together so that they can be kept apart later on. The servo plugs are labeled with the same number. After trying for a few times, everything is neatly laid. The yellow cables lead to the 3 motors, the black and red cables are connected to battery voltage, and the servo plugs of course connect to the receiver later on. I place the sound module and the BEC on the next level. And now comes a really important point. I remove the positive pole from the servo connector of the motor controller of the hydraulic pump. This is the middle cable. I insulate the loose plug with some shrink tubing. The pump controller also has a BEC, but it's too weak to operate all servos at the same time. So if the positive pole is not removed from the plug, there is a great risk that the entire pump controller will burn out later due to the additional BEC. So make sure to pay attention here. There must only ever be one BEC in the model. The 3 small motor controllers don't have an integrated BEC, so the plus pole does not need to be removed here. I mount the power distribution board to the top level. This board distributes the battery voltage to all modules. The main switch and the battery connection cable are also connected here. The yellow cables from the small motor controllers and the connection cables from the chain drives and the swivel drives are connected to the small green terminals. The contacts are simply passed through. The advantage is that I don't have to solder any cables. This makes it super easy to maintain the model later on. I can only recommend this. Of course, you could also use some simple screw terminals or something similar. I cut all the cables to the right length and connect them. Once again, I have to be very careful to connect the positive and negative poles of the red and black cables correctly. These cables are all supplied with battery voltage. If a mistake is made here, the incorrect connected modules can in the worst case burn out the first time they are switched on. Incidentally, I deliberately do not solder the ends of the cable. Now connect the main switch and the battery cable. I also have to pay very close attention to the correct polarity of the battery cable. After that, however, there's really nothing more that can go wrong with the electronics that can't be fixed later on. So once you have reached this point with your model, you can take a deep breath. Here are a few close-ups of the finished electronics unit. The next part is about the valve servos. Before these can be installed, all these servos have to be moved to the center position. I used the servo tester again for this, which you already know from the last episode. The electronics unit is already finished, so I simply use the connection plug from the BEC to supply the servo tester with power. I also take the opportunity to test whether the servos are running smoothly. The center point is set correctly when the display here shows 1500. As soon as the servo is connected, it jumps directly to the correct position. I now repeat this for all the other 5 servos and then it's time for assembly. First, I align the valve levers as precisely as possible so that the valves are in the center position, just like the servos when mounting. I screw the servo holder on very loosely at first. This allows everything to align itself. Now the electronics module can be mounted in the model. I connect the cables from the chain drives and the swivel drive to the small green terminals on the power distribution board. And the sound module requires some soldering for the first time, namely the cables for the loudspeaker. Here I take particular care to solder as short as possible and to apply as little heat as possible to the loudspeaker so as not to damage it. Let's take a close look at the sound module. It really has a lot of connections. The first 2 gray terminals supply the module with battery voltage. The speaker is connected to the small white plug and the cables to the receiver are connected to the pin header at the top. In the beginning I said that the sound module is also capable to control the lights. The connections for this are on the right hand side here. You could theoretically switch 2 times 8 functions with it. That is much more than this model needs. To be able to connect the individual lamps easily, I use a small distributor board. Either this variant with 4 functions or this larger one with 8 functions. The distributor board is then connected to the sound module with a ribbon cable. I have made a very short one here to be able to show it well. I will adapt the length of the real cable to the model later. So much for the theory. I test a bit where the distribution board can be placed so that all the screw terminals are still easily accessible. Now briefly to the plug. The black one is already fitted with the cable that comes with the sound module. I fit the grey one to the cable by myself. It's quite simple, you just have to make sure that it is used the right way around. I used the black pole of the cable as a guide. This is on the left hand side of both plugs. Now the distributor can be installed and the cable laid. To connect the plug of the cable, simply press the plug together. I use my secret favorite tool here, the parallel pliers. Anything that protrudes can then simply be cut off. Currently, the model only has one type of headlight. These are the working lights on the boom. The black cables for these look really great to scale, but you have to do a lot of trial and error when connecting them until all the cables are correctly polarized. You don't know where the plus and minus have to be connected. By the way, the headlights are also supplied with the battery voltage. By the way, the sound module supplies the voltage at the terminals with which it is supplied. Back to the cable. How do you find out quickly and easily how to connect the plus and minus? Well, I thought about this for myself for a long time. Then I built this little contraption here. 2 cables come out at the front and there is a switch in the middle. If I toggle the switch to the left, i.e. the green LED lights up, the polarity is exactly as you would expect, so positive to red. On the other side, when the red LED lights up, it is the other way around. There is also an adjustable power supply connected to the back so that I can simply adjust the voltage. So I connect the cables of the LEDs with these practical clamps. Then I flip the switch back and forth to find out which polarity is correct. Switch to the left and the LED lights up, then the colors of my cables are correct. Switch to the right and the LEDs light up, and the colors of the cables are exactly reversed. So for the 4 headlights I do this test for each cable. I have got into the habit of always combining the cables to the negative pole in one clamp. It may sound a bit complicated, but it really saves a lot of time once you get used to it. After testing all the 4 cables, I twist the ends and then test again whether all the headlights really do light up at the same time. And lo and behold, it works. Now the cables just have to be connected the right way around to the small distributor board. Leave a comment if you would like to see a little tutorial on how to rebuild the switch box. It's actually quite easy to build and super practical. Finally, let's take another look at this strange little circuit board. This is a special feature that you will probably only see on a very few models. The hydraulic servos are so far away from the receiver that you would have to install 6 extension cables. That would be quite a mess and very impractical if a servo needs to be replaced. And the servos are simply connected directly to the small circuit board. The colored cable contains all the signal lines of the 6 servos and is later connected directly to the receiver. Because the servos are not yet supplied with power by the colored cable, a wire with the plus 5 volt from the BEC must also be connected to the green terminals. But under no circumstances should the battery voltage be connected here. Now just tidy up the servo cables and the electrical installation is complete. And that brings us to the end for today. I hope you were able to take something away with you for your own projects, even though the electronics of this model are a bit special in some places. If you did like the video, please consider leaving a thumbs up and subscribe. It's free for you and as always super motivating for me. If you click the bell, you will also be notified as soon as the next episode is available. If you have any questions, suggestions or anything else you would like to tell me, please leave it in the comments. Thanks for tuning in and see you next time.